You would think it was a pretty uneventful day in the stock market today, but if you look underneath the surface, there were quite a few interesting things happening. We're going to take a look at some Chinese stocks. We're going to take a look at natural gas. We're going to take a look at some of the ARK names. We're going to take a look at some inflation data. So I think we got plenty to talk about. I am your host, the Cowboy. This is Elliot with Cafe and Charts of the Day. Let's get started. All right, let's begin just by having a quick look at the equities. Why? Pretty red market in here, pretty negative S&P 500. You know, they just opened at the highs and they sold them, but not much. I mean, it's down 1%. What is 1% when we were used with the 3 to 4% days, right? Not much. Dow Jones about 80 basis points, but just a continuous kind of a flush lower, more of a uneventful kind of corrective type price section. The NASDAQ was a little bit stronger here, only down about 73 basis points. And the mid caps got hit, as it's usually when we're getting sell-offs in the market. Small caps as well, down 1.6, this one 1.3, and the VIX, still lower. So the volatility continues to get suppressed in the market, which is interesting to see. It's definitely, something that I'm watching for continuation of the recovery of the risk assets in the market that I've touched on yesterday as well. Bonds today, yields rallied, bonds lower. 30-year went up to 3.17, 10-year 3.029, and then 5-year 3.03. So not much in there, just a little bit of push up in yields, and then you look up at the dollar. That was pretty much flat, about 30 basis points up. Tomorrow morning we have the ECB. That's going to create some fireworks. Watch euro and obviously the dollar into that announcement. I think we're going to be, when that happens, I'm going to be in the live stream. I have a live stream for the Pro Room tomorrow starting at 6:30 in the morning, and the announcement I think comes at about 6:45 my time, followed by at 7:30 by the press conference there. So we're probably going to be still live in the stream when that happens. I'm gonna talk to my members about it. So anyway, this is what's kind of coming up tomorrow. So take a look at the dollar. That's going to be an interesting setup, because if we're selling lower, should help risk assets. And by what I'm seeing on the charts, things could point in that direction. Now tomorrow we might get some fireworks, right? Nobody really knows, but I think structurally here. Maybe not structurally, but maybe tactically on a shorter term basis, we should be getting, more pullback in the dollar. We'll see what happens longer term, with the inflation data and the rest. But I think the dollar has hit a pretty major point there at about 105. Commodities were pretty mixed. One thing that I have my eyes on in natural gas. Natural gas was a pretty awesome market. It didn't get a lot of attention. You don't hear people really talk about it in the media. Oil kind of takes the cake there. But natural gas is a market that I've been following here for a few weeks, if not longer than that, into this increase. And, I'm shorting this market aggressively. I think, we're due for a serious correction. So, I think yesterday we had not yesterday, the day before, I think we had about a 10% rally in natural gas, followed by yesterday on a smaller one, only at about 3% or so. And then today they tried to rally, right? It was like everybody's like, oh my goodness, we're going higher. Exactly at about 11 o'clock on CNBC, I was watching the lunch hour there, or the halftime report or something. And Pete Najarian, I think, were saying like, nobody talks about natural gas and we're making new highs and all that. And not long after that, this thing just kind of crashed lower, about 7.3%. So interesting stuff there. Nice to kind of see it. Oil, on the other hand, continued to push higher. I think we're at about 120, 123, if I'm not mistaken. This is just the USO, but I think we're hitting some interesting highs in there. I'm not going to watch the video from yesterday on the oil market, but I did short XLE today. I bought some puts at about 98, I think. Yeah, 98 on the XLE with an expiration in July. So I have about 35 to 40 days time window for these puts to work out, and I'm watching for a pretty solid kind of crash lower. We'll see what's going to happen longer term, but near term I'm looking for a reversal there. So a couple of trades today as well. The other thing that I've done is I've shorted Oxy Petroleum as well. I've done that via stock directly, just kind of go short, and I alerted my members on that a little bit earlier today with the stops and targets and all that. So but that's kind of what happened in commodities. Gold, silver weak, corn weak here, not much. Gasoline up. And then crypto was kind of all over the place. Chainlink was one that was a little bit stronger. I think I've talked about that in the pro room yesterday. Today we also had a couple of coins that were acting pretty bullish. I've updated that alts room as well. And then, Bitcoin is still in this, tight range in here. We're waiting for it to break from this 30K zone. Maybe on Friday when we get the inflation data, we're going to get a move one way or the other. I have several accounts that I'm watching and we're kind of prepared for both. I'm still long here on a short-term basis, looking for 34, 35 to the upside with kind of stops below the 28K. If the market drips below there, I'm going to get out of that trade. So let's jump and continue to talk about this. So this is just a quick candle glance look at what happened on the market. So S&P 500 pretty much flat under the 50-day moving average. We're watching ideally another push higher here, maybe for a fifth wave. It hasn't happened yet. It's just still kind of hovering, going nowhere, just consolidating. Same for the NDX, same for the ComQ, same for the Dow Jones, same for the Russell. These markets are just trying to find footing, right? Nothing happening much. It's just a yo-yo up and down. I mean, look at Bitcoin between 32.5 and whatever it is, 29 or something, just sideways. We're above the 20, so that's important. I think this is supporting prices. If we can get back above the 50, that's going to be a good signal for more bullish development. TLT here and 10-year, we've talked about those. Dollar getting a little bit of a rejection from that 20, so we're going to watch that into tomorrow. Gold, nothing. WTIC, so oil, up about 2.2% on the day. No signs of reversal on the daily candles yet, but I'm going to be watching tomorrow. I think we get some, I think we're getting some inventories tomorrow, or that's on natural gas. I'm not sure, but this oil trade is it's running its course, I think, here. And then volatility continues to drop here below 25. We're at about what did we close at? About 23.96. Okay, let's continue here with the commodities, and I want to show you a couple of charts. Actually, just one, but I'm watching lumber. Oh, I'm watching corn here as it's pulling back. I want to short corn again. So it's going back to our 70.80. I think this is going to be a good level, but I need to go on the chart and I might just have a look at it tonight, talk about it tomorrow in the stream, but it's something that I still want to get on the short side of it with this pullback. And then the one I wanted to show you was NatGas. So look at this guy. Okay, we're climbing here on a much lower volume. We're hitting some. I mean, look at the monthly time frames in here. Okay, we're lacking momentum now. Now you can see the previous month, and this was. I'm losing my months here. I'm not sure what this was. April, right? One of the strongest months in there. It's kind of started in March, April, May. And now we're losing momentum. Every single month here gets smaller and smaller. So the month of June, it's already, I mean, we're just about almost 10 days into it, but it's much, much smaller. So you will need to get something very strong from the market, some kind of a momentum to push this market higher. And I don't see it, because look at the decline in the volume. Look at kind of where we are. I mean, we're early in the month, but we're barely kind of moving up into this neighborhood. And look at the resistance level from 10, right? 951, 10, 905, with a couple of bursts up into the 13 and 14, right? And I don't think the setup, it's set up like that, because you're already having a 1, 2, 3, 4 and up in 5 moving here. So I think NatGas, it's poised for a serious drop in here. And I'm looking, I mean, look at the volume on the decline today, on that 7% drop, right? You haven't seen this volume in a long time. So, and this happened right here. Now we're supported by the 20-day moving average, and we're bouncing off of it. but I think you're selling rallies in here, and this type of formation here, it's mostly a bearish one. Now, that's my play. I mean, listen, I could be wrong, and it can always be wrong, and this thing can shoot higher towards $12, right? I don't know. I'm gonna get stopped out if that's the case, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. That's what I'm playing, and I'm looking for a move back here towards about 650. I'm looking for the 50-day moving average maybe to support prices. I might take half the trade off here, and then target back towards 658. I see a big support here. This might take a few weeks before this happens, but that's kind of what I'm watching in the natural gas. So I wanted to discuss this chart with you a little bit here. The next one, I want to talk a little bit about the inflation data. So before we do that, let me jump over on the economic calendar. So this is coming up on Friday morning at 7:30 my time. Core inflation, and then you have regular inflation. Core inflation, you take energy, you take food, and you leave, nothing, right? It's in there. I don't know what's in there, but no food, no energy. People don't do that. Apparently, they're too volatile to include them. So forecast 6, previous 6.2. So they're expecting it to drop a little bit. Regular here on the inflation year over year for the month of May. Previous, we came at 83. We used to be at 8.5 was the high. Consensus is stable at about 8.3. So we'll see what the actual comes in. If we're coming back below 8.3, 8.2, 8.1, if you're coming below 8, that's going to be, it's going to be very interesting for the commodities markets. I think they're going to crash. Stock market will rally. One thing to watch for is if this number goes higher and stocks don't sell off, right? That's a big signal that the market, it's probably oversold already and we can rally. So a couple of ways to look at it. And obviously the Fed watches, here core inflation month over month, right? That's kind of what they're watching every single month in here. And previous was, 0.6 in here. They're forecasting to go high 0.8. We're going to see what happens there. But that's what's going to happen. And why is Lagarde speaking on Friday? Because she has a press conference tomorrow. Maybe she's speaking again on Friday. Anyway, tomorrow we also have initial jobless claims. So anyway, the inflation data, it's coming up. Here is what I want to show you on the inflation number, what the market thinks about the inflation, right? It's been coming down. The inflation expectations. And I'm not looking at any complicated data in here. There is measures that you can look on the Fred website, and I can do it even here on stock charts. But I'm looking basically at just a TIPS bond, Treasury Inflated Protective Securities. This is what you're buying when you wanted to get, a protection from inflation from the Treasury. They pay you a yield here, look at 6.6, and this has been going higher, right? And gold has been following it, tick for tick here, right? So for people that were waiting, I don't know, maybe I've said this and I'm repeating myself. If you're first time to the channel, maybe the first time you're hearing this, but I've been talking about this in the streams, in the YouTube also, right? So this has been going up, and I've gotten questions like, hey, why isn't it gold rallying when, the inflation is so high, right? You're at 8% inflation. Well, markets are ahead of you. Okay, markets are forward looking. And they actually started to rally at the end of 2018. The TIPS market have started to break up here and started to price in inflation way before you were thinking it's going to come. Okay, that's how forward-looking the markets are. Just like right now, we could be in a recession already, right? Markets have already bottomed. By the time we're going to find out that we're in a recession, the markets could be already 15, 20% off the lows and moving to new highs. So that's the cool things about the markets. Now, this is the tip market that was telling you the inflation is coming. Gold has already rallied. Now, when you're topping on the inflation, tips market is coming lower, right? We're at about 117 right now on the Treasury from on the tips, and gold is kind of coming down as well. So this market is telling you right here. Now it's coming into support. We'll see. Maybe we'll hover around here, but this market is telling you that inflation has stopped, and it's very likely that you're going to continue lower. So don't expect necessarily gold to rally under the circumstances. We'll see what happens on gold, but the gold market, it's kind of messy. But this is one of the signals that I've been talking about regarding inflation data. So pay attention to that. Now here is where we are on the rate of change on the inflation, 8.2 year over year. this is where the Fed funds rate is, right? 0.75 to 1%. They're going to go up here next week, another 50 basis points. So this is going to be 125. It's going to be up higher above this line, 125 to 2%. Right here. It's going to push higher. That's the difference. So these two lines are probably going to start to come down, right? And they'll probably hit their target. As this inflation comes back from 8.2, maybe back to 6, maybe back to 5, to 4, right? They wanted to get it all the way back here to 2. That's where the Fed wants to get it, right? So they're going to raise rates. This was 2 when they've done it, 2.2 I think last time they've done it in 2018 in December 2018. They're probably going to get it all the way up there. Then we'll see what happens. I'm watching this trend line in the Fed futures, right? Because this is pointing down. So they're going to push it up. The inflation is going to come down in here, right? And they're probably going to start to be somewhere where the markets accept, that the Fed is kind of done with the tightening cycle. Inflation has been coming down, and it's all roses. Okay, the only thing that's scary about this is if the earnings into the next quarter, right? We still have this month from this quarter, but the next quarter earnings, if they're coming down, that's going to be a little problematic for the market. We'll see what happens, guys. We've been in a big pandemic. We've been in a big mess here for the past 3 years, and things are just starting to recover here. I'm not surprised by this, but people that are saying that this is going to be some kind of a persistent inflation at 8% persistent. I don't know. Maybe you can get it persistent back when you're getting back here towards 3 to 4%, but not at these levels. I mean, even if you look historically, this thing back in 75, back in the 80s, the moment you hit a high and you're turning. Okay, you're not hovering around here. You're just crashing. You're bringing it down. Now, and do we have enough, with everything that's kind of started to come down in terms of, numbers that you're seeing it out there. I'm not, I'm not an economist. I'm not studying this. I'm just kind of listening to people that do. And you notice a bunch of the stuff the supply chain start to open, used car prices coming down, stuff like that, right? They're talking about, this labor inflation, and maybe that's going to calm down too. But it's going to be very hard for me to accept that this is going to go up to 10% like that. Okay. Or maybe to 11% or to 14% based on what? So I don't think so. I think this is going to come back down. And if you're going to get persistent inflation, it's going to be maybe somewhere into this 5 to 4 neighborhood right there. And with the Fed raising rates, maybe back towards 2%, if they can get there, we'll see. But they're starting to withdraw liquidity. So that's going to be interesting. Anyway, I wanted to put a parenthesis on that and just talk to you a little bit about that. And then here is kind of what's going on with the commodities. Maybe I talked about this too. When inflation hits a high, right, commodities love it, right? They just ripped higher, right? You're looking at the CRB index. Look at that. 2020 lows, March, inflation, bam, 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 all the way, right? You're about 329 in this one. But previous periods of high inflation, this is what happened to the commodities, and then they crash lower. Once inflation tops, these commodities are coming down. So that's what I'm watching. Everything that's kind of opening with the energy. That's what I'm watching. What's going on with grains, with some of the metals, things like that. Those could be, some short opportunities. But that's just me. All right, let's take a look at some of this Chinese stuff. So KWEB, large China ETF. FXI. No, this is not KWEB. This is FXI. KWEB is about the internet. So here is the monthly chart. Coming into this humongous support right here. This thing has gotten destroyed from beginning of 2021 till March 2022. Here's the support, right there. 2613, just scam, and there's rimmed higher. So on the monthly charts, this is a pretty powerful signal. Every time you're getting wicks like this, monthly wise, you're stabilizing and you're probably going to go back up higher. So I'm watching on FXI at least a return back here towards 38. Okay, I don't know how much percentage that is from current levels, but that's another 15 to 20% rally in the China ETF. Okay, sure, you can get a pullback in here and come back like that, but I think that's what's coming. Against this low, I would continue to trade them to the upside. Pretty good signs coming in, good volume. So that's kind of what I'm watching in China. Here is KWEB. So this is the internet ETF. This is a, what is this? A weekly chart, pretty good volume in there. Nice rally. We took out this high about 32.76. Let's take a look at the monthly charts and see how that looks. So I'm not doing any counts here. Okay. No counts. Look at this, guys. Okay. Sold off there. This was month of February 2021. Crashed. What is this? 80% down. Okay, and look at this 3 months. Look at the size of this wicks in here, and look at the volume coming into this candle. So again, I think we're coming into some resistance. So probably it's not going to be that easy to pass through there, right there. Okay. So there might be a play into there, maybe a little bit of a pullback, but I think then we're going to crack it higher and push back, again, maybe towards, 40 to 45, if not higher. Okay. But I think we have some major lows. I think for this year, we're kind of done, selling this, maybe even for the next year. So this is, China Internet. And then, here is BABA, one that I own for the Elliott Wave Cafe portfolio, which I share with my members as well. Here is BABA. Look at this, right? Big decline, obviously, whatever, 75, 80%. Come back into the support, 73.28, the low. And monthly candles here looking beautiful. I think we're going to go back to 133, maybe even higher. A very simple tactic is just, measure from here to here and pull up 38%. Okay, of this move, and that could be a very reasonable target to the upside on a correction here. And maybe you're going to go to new all-time highs. Who knows, right? Nobody really knows, but might take 4 or 5 years. But this thing could pass 303 and push to new all-time highs. I know they cracked on this stuff. This could be a big flat, and you're up before you know it. Okay, so this is BABA, and here is how it looks on the dailies. Right into the 20-day moving average, right? So be careful here. I know you're going to say, hey, why? Isn't this a three-wave move? Yeah, it is, but think about where we're coming from, kind of how this thing look. So 100% equality, we're coming very soon. If we're establishing ourselves above this 200-day, that's a good thing. It's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have defense on the 50 now that's going to crawl higher. That's going to be your support. And I would continue to kind of chug along to the upside in BABA, looking for higher levels. You can pick any upside targets in here, maybe 135, then up towards 176 as this market kind of continue. Wow, 22 minutes. I got to wrap this up. So a few more charts. ARKK ETF, beautiful rejection out of the support. This one got killed too. You know what happened to Cathy Wood? 78% decline. It was almost like it was China. Coming back into the support. Obvious and strong and big bounce out of there. Sometimes looking at the monthly charts kind of show you what's going on. One thing I wanted to show you is this. Look at this. Look at this capitulation candle on the monthly, on the sell-off. What was here? 900 million, right? That's 900 million shares volume into this candle. It's over. It's over. Everybody got out of that trade. Now we can recover. So here we are at 45. Again, just put a 38.2% fib. And, I think that could easily get targeted. We're still in a downtrend here, but I mean, look how far is the 200 week. This is the 200 week moving average. Okay. And this looks to me like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with a big flush. Look at this. This is the 5th wave low. We're done. We're done in ARK ETF. And I would buy pullbacks and look for a move higher. So, I mean, you can easily get another 30 to 40%. Guys, anything I say, it's for financial for information and educational purposes, no financial advice. Okay, but it's kind of what I'm seeing in here. So have at it. This is ARK ETF, and let's take a look at the dailies. Here is how it looks. Climb back above the 20. We still have to fight this 50-day moving average. It's going to take some time. Things don't happen overnight. This might be a leading diagonal followed by a little bit of a pullback, but I'm starting to like it. I'm starting to kind of get signals in here that things are possibly going to turn. Roku was another great performer. Are you looking at the weekly charts? Look at these two hammer candles on the weeklies from 75.03, double test of that bottom, volume starting to come in. I don't know, big support right there. You can see it. You know, just very nice. Okay, that's where it decided to stop. I mean, it could have stopped here, but it didn't. Kept going. I don't make the rules. So here is what it's coming. You know, what are we going to do now? Roku might be looking good to the upside. Let's take a look at the monthly. This is just pure price action. No counts, no nothing. Just pure price action, technical levels, sentiment, volume, stuff like that. Look at how many months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months or something of bearish price action. You serious? Are you kidding me? What's going on with Roku? Okay, we stopped in here. Finally, we can recover. Again, possibly a decent rally, maybe back towards 176 in here. That's a 72% rally from current levels. Let's take a look at the daily. You know, look at the daily. You're looking like downtrend, right? Look at this volume into this candle against the trend, like this one back here, and then you're about to sell lower. I'm not sure. I think I have a pretty decent hunch here that this week could be done here. Now, in terms of Elliott wave, right? This is Elliott wave cafe. You can look at that. We don't talk here about waves today, but you know, if you want to wait for a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Wait to see a 5-way move. So far, we don't have it. Okay, so might be a leading diagonal, some kind of a motive wave. Okay, which is only two kinds, either an impulse or a diagonal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regular impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leading, expanding, whatever you want, and the diagonal could be maybe back towards 139 and then buy the pullbacks. But Roku looks interesting, and then DraftKings, you kidding me? Look at this, look at this move, look at this candle on the weekly time frames. Look at this beautiful hammer. I don't know. This kind of tells me there's a recovery coming. We were up today. I mean, Roku was up, what, 9%, 12% up in DraftKings. Volume coming in. I don't know. It just looks pretty good to me. Monthly, look at that, right? So we're going to chug along here. But I think, 17 to 20, maybe even back to 25 are not unreasonable targets to kind of look for to the upside. It's not going to happen in a week. But I mean, this was a big flush right there, right? And now you wanted to, put a trend line in here, break above it, break above the 20, break above the 50-day, establish yourself above there, right? And then you can trade with an upside momentum. You want to see higher lows and higher highs here, right? But I think this 977 was the low. Guys, don't forget to come into my trading room if you want to trade with me, learn with me, Elliott wave, sentiment, technicals, anything you have. We have 3 active channels. We have an alts channel, we have a Bitcoin channel, we have a macro channel, where I present charts, daily videos, stuff like that. Give me some thumbs up. Don't forget to visit this little letter, the pigeon and the statue. You might find a few things in there as well. Please go ahead and subscribe to this if you haven't already. Elliott Wave Cafe, substack.com. I'll put a link in here. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good evening.